Our house is a very, very, very fine house with two cats in the yard. Life used to be so hard. Now everything is easy because of you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Astound Yourself Dating Show, with our intro song tonight being Our House by Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. I am Richard Francois, your dating strategist, and with me this evening is Elaine Swanders, the illustrious matchmaker and
That's
the
me.
intuitive matchmaker as well. Tonight, Elaine joins us with one of her other specialties and talents. Elaine is a woman of many skills and talents. And
Oh, I
tonight,
love it.
Elaine, what are we going to discuss with people? Why did I pick this song, Our House? Well, why? I'll let you tell them.
Tonight we're going to talk about how looking for a partner is a lot like, well, you need similar skills to do so, like looking for a house.
Looking for a partner is like looking for a house. You have heard it here.
Similarly, yep.
And you've heard it here first from Elaine Saunders, the matchmaker. If you're watching this, please say hello. Let's see who set up an example already by saying hello. We have Tammy here. Tammy, of course, is basically a part of the show now. Tammy's here with us every week. Hello, Tammy. What
She's
is
a
up?
co-host.
She noticed that we're both in red and gave us a little red heart for that. Thank you. And Jamie says, hello, Elaine and Richard. And Jamie sounds like a gentleman because he said hello to you first, Elaine, and then me. So Jamie
right.
is practicing chivalry here. Okay, Jamie, we'll
Thank
forgive
you.
you for that. Tonight, we are going to discuss the similarities between the housing market and the dating marketplace. Elaine, what got you thinking that dating and housing and house hunting are so similar?
Well, you know I have a real estate license, right?
I'm aware.
You know that, right?
Yes.
So it comes to mind when people are looking for something of such major importance that will be a part of their lives for what we might assume to be for many, many years a part of their lives, that they are making a major monumental decision in this process. So it's not a decision to be taken lightly. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. It's a for many people that's the biggest expense they'll ever have is their home, and
Mhm.
one of the other big expenses is a wedding.
Or the
And
divorce lawyer.
yeah, if exactly, and of course, finding a partner is like one of the biggest liabilities. Could be if it's
Could
not an
be.
asset, it could become a liability. So a house and finding a partner share that similarity, but I also can see that in any marketplace, there's the buyer, there's the seller, and there's a product, and there's the demand on the product. How's the demand on houses right now, Elaine?
Well, Richard, if you're a buyer, it's not an easy place to be right now. There are far more many buyers out there looking to find a home than there are houses on the market.
So if you're a buyer right now looking to find a home, you have a lot of competition. Now,
Correct.
if we're comparing that to relationships, dating for the purpose of relationships, because dating could have many different ends to it. If you're dating to find yourself a hanky-panky partner, that's one type of dating. That's it. We're never going to use the S word on this show again. Now, from now on, we're going to say hanky-panky.
Hanky-panky partner.
Hanky-panky partner. That's what we say on this show from now on.
Hanky-panky partner. Did somebody write in and give you a big hard time about the S word?
No. I'm just deciding that from now on we're gonna say
I like hanky-panky partner.
That's gonna be our signature term. We had a guest on one time that just kept giggling every time I said hanky panky, and I just could not stop. It was one of the Stephanies that
One of
was
the
Yeah, we had a couple of Stephanies on on
Let's
our
bring her back and bombard her with
show.
hanky
Yes.
panky.
So she just kept laughing whenever I said it. I just okay, this is the word I'm using. So I'm bringing back hanky panky, everybody. Enough about me and my silly word choices. The
I'm
dating
loving it.
marketplace. So in the housing market, it's clear that there's a buyer, there's a seller. It's always clear who they are. Typically, the buyer is the person who wants to move into the home, and the seller already lives there. Typically, sometimes the seller doesn't live there, but it's clear who's buying, who's selling. In the dating marketplace, when it comes to relationships, are we clear who's buying and who's selling, Elaine? Who is the one that's selling as far as a relationship, and who's the one that wants to get into a relationship typically?
Well, typically it's both people are selling and both people are buying.
Hmm.
If it's if it's um if it's balanced properly, it should if it's well balanced, if it's two people entering in and it's not one person chasing the other who's not in the market, so to speak.
Hmm.
If they're both looking for a similar situation or a similar outcome.
Well, let me ask you this question: If um, would most guys get into a relationship if the hanky panky was available on the first date?
Good question.
What do you think?
Theoretically, and we had this discussion on, I think, either our last show or the show before that. Theoretically, most do not, but many have. So who's to
Mhm.
say?
Most
That's a
not, but
case by case.
many have.
Many
Now,
have.
so what if for this discussion we treated it like in the game of dating for relationships? Um, the guy was the seller and the women were the buyers. In other words, the
Selling.
guy is the one that ultimately decides if a relationship is going to happen. If it's for sex, the woman is the one who ultimately decides. I'm sorry, not sex, hanky panky. If it's,
Right.
I can't even keep
Don't
track of my own
confuse
words.
me.
If
Don't
it's,
confuse me.
if it's hanky panky, the woman decides. But generally speaking, even if she wants to have a relationship, if he's not on board, it's not going to happen. So now let's take a look at in this dating marketplace. What are let me I look at my notes here. Oh, here we go. In the search for relationships, who is the seller, who's the buyer? So do we agree, at least for this show, that who's the seller, who's the buyer? For example, here.
Do you want to put somebody in the spot? So we say the woman is the seller of, you want to make somebody, if you want to go there, if you want to go there, we could put somebody in the role. Sure.
Okay, great.
But
Let's put somebody in the role.
okay. So for a case study, so to speak, we'll say, okay, let's say the man is the seller and the woman is the buyer, or she's not, let's say she's not even a buyer. Let's say she's an innocent standby.
She's not. How could she be? How could a woman be innocent at anything, Elaine?
I don't know.
See that very look you just did? Every woman's practiced that just because they know they're not innocent. That's the
You,
I'm the innocent
I had you
officer
go. I
look.
had you go in there for a minute.
What is the I'm innocent officer look?
Didn't I?
Who, me?
I don't know.
So let's
So
continue then. So if a woman is in your goings on as a matchmaker, let's say you have a prospect who says, "I'm looking to enter into a relationship. Here are my criteria." Just like somebody might say, "I want a house.
right,
Here are my criteria."
right.
Are there any parallels between somebody who's looking for a house and the requirements they have, and somebody who's looking for a relationship and their requirements? Are there any similarities?
Oh, absolutely. And they
Do
come
tell.
in, oh yeah, laundry lists. So some people go into, they go into a house, they want a certain amount of bedrooms, they want a certain style of home.
Mm-hmm.
They want a certain amount of land or property. They want a garage. They want a number of bathrooms. And they want a certain neighborhood.
What
And
does all that do to the price of the house if they get everything they want?
well, the thing about homes, interestingly enough, you could run a market analysis and you could pretty much come up with a price range that a buyer can expect to pay for what they're looking for.
And so the more things they want, does the price go higher or lower as they want more things?
It drives the price up.
Drive
The
the
newer
price
the
up.
home, the better the upgrades, and how old are the appliances, how nice are the cabinets and the countertops, and how old are the fixtures, and how old is the house, and has it been upgraded, the heating, the electricity? Does it have a nice piece of property on it, or is it run down? And so you could literally look and see what's sold in the community where it sits and get an idea of what a buyer might expect to pay for that type of home in that community. And you could get a bird's eye view of how many homes might even be available, if any at all.
So, one question about buyers. Most buyers, do most buyers want a house that is their dream house, ready to go, ready to move into, or do most buyers want a fixer upper house?
Most people would like it to be as move-in ready as humanly possible based on their budget. So the
Okay,
thing is, based on their budget. So you can only afford what you can afford.
right.
So you have a budget. You can only work within your budget. So as a buyer, you really have to learn to work within your budget because you only have so much money to work with. And the beauty about selling a tangible thing like a house is, like I said, you can determine how many actual houses might be or that actually fit into your criteria that might be available on the market and what you can expect to pay for it.
So, how does all this apply to the dating marketplace, Elaine?
That's the thing. That's the magic or the lack thereof.
Yes, the lack thereof.
The
Continue.
mystery of it, yeah. The nuances that are involved when it comes to human characteristics. And the truth is, nobody's keeping tabs on relationships that are coming and going. And we know that the divorce statistics are high per se, but we don't know how many females or males of a certain age range are available and looking per se for a relationship that matches the type of relationship, let's say, that a buyer, let's say a person seeking a particular type of relationship is looking for.
So
So
we might not know the numbers, but is there a similarity in terms of the qualities people are looking for? In other words, are most people looking for a fixer upper relationship, or they want a relationship that's ready to go, ready to like?
yeah, they want moving condition.
And what would you say? How does that affect their ability to find a relationship? Are they staying single for a long time, or are they finding the man right away and living happily ever after?
Well, they're getting very frustrated because their expectations are move-in condition. And it's very difficult to determine by just looking at somebody if they have all the characteristics of a move-in condition person.
Okay.
Because the move-in characteristics involve a lot more than just superficial looks. And whether or not their teeth are straight, and whether or not they have, a good haircut, or whether or not they have a nice car, whether or not they have a good job. It takes time to learn whether or not they have good judgment and good recall of details, and whether or not they have certain talents that you are hoping they bring to the table in your partnership. For example, hey, if I'm not a really good cook, maybe I'm looking for someone who is.
Or
So
can
that
order.
together, they're gonna fill a space that I'm not kind of filling, and then together, I'm doing something wonderful that he might not be able to do. But together, we make a great team. But it takes time to determine.
So either he's a good cook, or at least he has an Uber Eats account.
Right. I'm just
Right?
saying, for example, I'm not saying for me or anything particular, but you know what I'm saying. It's
Yes.
just those type of nuances and characteristics are not all that obvious, and people can tend to exaggerate their better qualities and can fib.
So, are there instances where somebody sees a house, a picture of a house online, and they walk into the house and they go, "Oh, this is not what I expected"?
Sometimes,
Does that ever happen in relationships and online dating?
all the time, every day.
Not a similarity. Any other similarities you can think of, Elaine?
um, let's see.
Are there, for example, people who want a house and they it's just way out of their budget and they will not accept
Oh
it?
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's people who definitely they haven't been what I call pre-qualified.
So, how does somebody pre-qualify in the dating marketplace, Elaine? What does that look like?
They need to take some personal inventory.
Mhm. What are some examples of personal inventory? Is it
Personal
height, color,
inventory.
what?
Well, I guess it's, a little bit of realization. Have they done any kind of personal self growth, development, spiritual work,
Hmm.
anything at all that has brought them to the conclusion that they are a worthwhile partner? If they just came out of like 6 failed relationships, one after the next, after the next, after the next, and they have not taken a breath to think about what the heck just went on. That was one bloodbath after another. Could it be me? Maybe it was something I did or said. Maybe. And think about it and maybe work on that just a little, just to maybe look in the mirror for a little bit of time and say, who am I and what am I bringing to this picture? And who am I attracting, or why did I attract that? What happened there? Not to relive the past or rehash it to the point where you're not getting beyond it, but you can't get beyond it until you figure out what the heck just happened there.
Right. So, what could somebody do in the single dating marketplace to make themselves more marketable the way that somebody might make their home more marketable? What are some things that a woman can do to make herself more appealing to today's man?
Well, I think it helps if a woman has um, friends that are male, just to get a feeling for some, like a wingman. It's always nice to have a good friend you could bounce ideas off of. Maybe a brother or a cousin who maybe could give you a good heart to heart and maybe tell you if there's some things that are glaringly, obviously wrong, or maybe you're stepping out of line with, or
Okay. Well,
maybe well, for example, maybe she's real needy or gets clingy or just too, attached too quickly, or maybe she is sleeping with the guy too quickly for a second date. She's, maybe somebody needs to tell her to like reel it in a little, just a little.
yeah, it's okay to go to bed with him, but sleep in your own house at night. Right? That's what you mean?
Well, just take a breath and get to know somebody first. Get to know what their intention is.
What are some of the complaints that men and we can flip the question later, but what are some of the questions that the complaints that men share with you about somebody that they're not going to consider for a relationship?
Um, oftentimes it's usually just really kind of possessiveness, jealousy, not having enough time for the man Just really, a lot of times I hear, this is a woman who told me she wants a relationship, yet
Yes.
she's got zero time for me.
For you as the matchmaker.
Yeah, I mean, the
Okay.
women, yeah, a lot of women say they want a relationship, but they're not available for a relationship. Physically, no time. They don't give the man any time. It's, I got to do this, I got to do that. I have my kids, I have that. I got a class. And
So you mentioned possessiveness. What's a specific action that could demonstrate somebody's being too possessive early on?
implying that he's got other things going on with other women,
Okay.
and calling him out on things that don't even exist, or
Like what?
being possessive or jealous, like who's texting you, or who's
Who
calling
texts
you,
you?
or
Who's calling you?
that type of thing. Where are you going? Who are you going with? Checking in too much, like, why didn't you respond to my texts? I texted you an hour ago.
Mm.
Were you with anybody else, or what were you doing? Why didn't
And
you
this
text me?
happens with what kind of age group are we talking about here?
Any.
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 So people in their
Any.
40s,
Yeah,
50s, 60s.
yeah, people just have a lack of trust and understanding, and they feel like if they're not getting immediate responses, then their antenna goes up, and they're thinking that other person must be paying attention to someone else, and they start feeling anxiety. They get anxious about the relationship, and somebody can smell, that anxiety a mile away, and it doesn't feel comfortable. I don't want to make anybody feel anxious or uncomfortable, or feel like, if I'm just sitting at home and I'm doing my laundry and I just haven't looked at my phone in a half hour and an hour, I don't want to think that you're going to feel anxious if I haven't responded to your text. And if you're that type of person, I don't want that kind of responsibility. Nobody does. It's too much too soon.
So let's take a look at it the other way. What are some things that guys do that might turn a woman off to a relationship? Like, what are some of the, if we're again going back to the house on the market analogy,
Yeah.
what are some things that a man can do to increase his curb appeal?
It's funny. I always hear that men, I don't know if this is true. You're the dating strategist for men. Is it true that men always look better if they hang around with other women?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's different for men versus women. You tell me which man you find more attractive. A man who always has women giggling around him, flirting with him, looking at him, or a man who sits in the dark corner and nobody notices. Which one do you want to be around? Which
It's
one do
true.
you want on your arm?
It's true.
That's different for men. A man doesn't want to make his girlfriend or wife the woman that's popular with all the guys, even if she's not sleeping around. Like she's flirting with the guys, and she's sitting close to them, high fiving them. They're all like checking her out. This man is like, I don't know if I can trust her.
Hmm.
We think differently. So a woman who's sitting by herself is being reserved, keeps to herself, but is otherwise approachable. Like if one guy comes and then starts speaking, she'll engage him in conversation, but she's not talking to seven guys at the bar and just playing pool with them all and just like trying to be one of the boys or
Right.
flirting with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That woman stands more of a chance to be considered potential girlfriend or relationship material.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's what it is. Doesn't mean that a guy needs to become buddy buddy with a bunch of women. That doesn't help you either. If you're just platonic friends with a bunch of women, it's like, how's that helping you? You
Gotcha.
gotta. How do you create yourself as a kind of guy that women notice?
I don't know. Be good at home improvements.
so so that's one of the things that I help show guys is how to do that, how to increase your curb appeal, how to make yourself more noticeable.
Wear a tube belt.
I fix things, girl.
Fix things. Yeah.
Yes, but
And
don't
our,
go around fixing her sink on the second date, guys. That's for girlfriends only. If she wants you to fix her sink, you have her download the app called Handy, and she can hire a handyman for that.
right. What about ex-boyfriends?
That's the ex-boyfriend's fault if he's allowing himself to be used like that. It's just
What
like,
if we pay him? It's
well, that he's not being used.
okay.
There's an
All right.
exchange. There's an
Yeah.
exchange. It's like there there are privileges that you are part of the relationship, and once the relationship ends, those go away. Just
Right.
like
It's
there's
time to break out the checkbook.
that's right. Maybe before the relationship, one of the things that used to happen is because this guy was handy, he would fix things around the house. Now, if the relationship's over, that's a perk that's gone. If the
Well, maybe
relationship
it didn't happen during the relationship. That's why the relationship ended.
and maybe if we're flipping it right, maybe there was a point where in the relationship she was really good at giving back scratches, and that's something he really got into. Well, when you
Uh,
break up, you give up the back scratches. You don't get to say, "Hey, my back really itches, former honey. Would you like to come give me a back scratch?" No, that was part of the relationship. You don't get to enjoy that perk anymore. If you leave a job, you don't tell them, "Well, I still would like to get paid."
right.
You don't tell them, "Well, I left a job, but I still expect my benefits to carry on like nothing happened." Same thing for relationships. Hello, Claudia. Thank you for
Hello.
joining us. Thank you for watching. So, I think we have a couple more points to make about the housing versus dating
I
thing.
think we should need to ask the audience some questions. What do we
Oh,
need
so
to?
what do you need to have and what can you live without?
Oh, okay, that's good.
It
Right.
seems to me that question is easier answered in housing than in relationships. What do you think, Elaine?
Probably. So, what do you need to have, and what can you? Oh no, seriously. So, when you're relationship hunting, so to speak, or searching, or however you want to put it, um, I think people need to know before they even start dating. I mean, before you even start dating, put it into perspective for yourself. Maybe even have it written down somewhere so you're not winging it. I think that's how people end up in situationships. They end up with whomever they happen to stumble into, and they're just trying to make things work with whomever, doing whatever happens. And without any thought, they look up and a few months have passed by and it's just going on and on. And they're scratching their head, wondering, how did I end up with this person and why am I still with them? They're clearly not the person I should be with. We have no common goals or interests. We haven't been talking about the future, and I don't even want to have a future with this person based on what I'm finding. And I think that's because a lot of people just go into it with no clear idea in their minds of what are they looking for in a person. I love when people say, I know it when I'll find it.
Oh,
Really?
I'll know when I meet the person. I'll just
Yeah,
yeah.
just know when I find it. Oh, yeah, I'll figure it out then. How's that been working for you?
I think that's a great way to find candy at the grocery store, but I'm not sure
Yeah.
it's a good way to find a
Yeah, like when
relationship
I'm
in
searching
a
for a
house.
piece of cake, I'll know it when I see it on the
I know when I see it.
dessert
Yes, when
tray.
it's called right to me.
Right.
Yeah. Or if you're like at the a clothing store and you're looking for a shirt, but you don't really know what the color might be. You just know you're looking for a festive looking shirt.
Right.
So you're looking into something catches your eye. But
Exactly.
that's very different from, hey, I'll just know it's the right person when I see them, or it's the right house. You have to start with some criteria
Right.
of
Well,
what you want and don't want.
well, oftentimes a house, it's tangible. So when you walk through it, you can picture living in it. And, a house doesn't change its beams. It doesn't change where the bathrooms are. It doesn't change
Right.
how much
But
land it's on. But a person, you don't know when you see it or her or him how much of a son of a they might
B,
be under hard circumstances, when the chips are coming down and stuff's happening. You don't know that unless you know them. And you don't know them unless you know them. And it takes time to know somebody.
Yeah,
I
that it
mean,
does.
maybe initially, I mean, you have a good feeling about some person. You have a good feeling they're worth investing in and getting to know better. But, a month isn't long enough to put a full blown commitment into somebody entirely.
So how long? 5 weeks?
I don't know, but I'm sorry I missed that event that with that gentleman you turned me on to, who has his Sunday events in the timeline, the dating timeline.
Oh yes, maybe we could have him come on the show and talk.
I wish, yeah, I think we should invite him on as a guest, because I'm so curious to know what that timeline is, because it leads right through till
Yeah.
like major commitment marriage. But I know, like you said, it's a little bit of a religious twist, but I'm not opposed to that. We could just,
Yeah, we can have him come on and
yeah,
I'll speak with him and see if he's available on a Thursday evening to join
yeah,
us about the
need to
dating.
hear what he has to say.
Yeah, excellent. Was there one last point about housing versus playing house?
Yeah, well, you can always rent, right? Lease or rent.
Right. Okay. So, what's the dating version of leasing or renting? Is that getting an escort, Elaine? Are we
I
promoting?
don't know.
Is that what, or is that just going on Tinder? Is that
Well, something. So
What's
similar.
the
Okay,
final
so
question here? What's the dating equivalent of house hunting without a realtor?
it's kind of like Match.com.
Trying to do it yourself on Map.com.
That's right.
Yeah.
Going on there and trying to do it all your own. I always say it's great to meet people, but it's better to meet somebody who knows somebody.
Oh, so I like a little networking and infused
Yeah,
dating. Okay.
I think
That's
so.
how we met. That's how we met.
That's right.
Somebody knew you and he knew me, and he said, "Hey, you guys should know each other."
So many people. I mean, I can't tell you how many, so many times people ask me, how do you know that person? And I think about it, I'm like, I met them through networking,
Yes.
I was at a meeting yesterday, and I was with another person in real estate, and she met a mortgage guy there, and she's like, I need help, I need help, I need a mortgage person. And I said, Steve. And she said, well, how do you know this guy? She wanted reassurance that I knew him.
Right.
How long did I know him, and how did I know him? And I'm like, I've known him for years. I was introduced through a mutual friend, and I've recommended him, and I know people who have used him. That's strong. It's not like a Match.com referral, like
And a
going
fly by
online.
night either.
Yeah, it's not like going online and typing in mortgage into Google and then going with what do you get when you do that, right? Mortgage. I'm going to type it in. Who am I going to get?
You get the highest paid ad.
Yeah, I'm going to get Quicken Loans. Yeah, Quicken
Yeah,
Loans.
you get the one that has the highest paid ad.
Well,
Excellent.
talk to realtors about using Quicken Loans. You don't want to go to closing with Quicken.
So, and I think the moral of the story is, if you are looking for someone serious and online dating, that is the DIY buying of houses, if online dating has not worked for you, it's time to consider what?
Someone who can help you find somebody, matchmaker, coach, friend, ask for help, get some help. Don't be
Ask for help.
alone. Have
Ask for help.
someone kind of represent you, put a good word in for you.
Yes. So work with a matchmaker like Elaine, or go to events where you can meet other people. If you're looking to meet more people, if you're looking for advice, find a professional. Find a professional. And I want to speak specifically to the guys about looking for advice. Guys, there's a caution. There's a caution I want to give you here about advice. You do not ask for dating advice from women. I know that sounds horrible. How could you say that, Richard? How dare you? You do not ask for dating advice from women. Here's why. When you ask, and there's a clip I want to react to that's on YouTube about this. When you ask women for dating advice, the dating advice typically is designed to keep her appeased. The advice is keep her on your good side. Don't rock the boat. Don't ruffle her feathers. That's how women give advice to guys. Be sweet, be nice. Tell her she's wonderful. She's flawless. She didn't do anything wrong. Don't disagree. That's typically the advice when you get advice from a woman about women. Who you ask for advice from is a guy who actually is getting the result that you want with women. That's who you get that advice from because it's not necessarily going to be appeasing. It might ruffle her feathers a little bit, but it's going to have you be noticed instead of just be the guy in the corner who's predictable and and uh, and especially, by the way, do not ask for dating advice of your single female friends.
That's funny.
Because the results say something. The results matter and they mean something. That would be like asking for who would you want to teach you about football? Somebody who has lots of opinions about fantasy football or Tom Brady?
It's true, but I've been single for big chunks of time.
That's right. But you're a matchmaker and you're good at it. And when
I
it
know.
comes for dating
I've been
advice,
married successfully too.
when it comes for dating advice, what do you send the guys?
To you.
There we
Ta-da.
go. Okay. High five, Elaine. All right.
Wait,
So
wait.
this is our show for this week, everybody. Want to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to like the show, like the page, share it with your friends. We're going to come next week with another great show for you. And if you have things you'd like to see us discuss, let us know. Send us a comment about what
Yeah,
topic
put
you'd like
something
to see
in
us discuss.
comments. Tell us.
We can make it spicy. We'll come up with fun words like hanky, hanky, panky.
Hanky.
We'll come up with fun words like that. And just keep bringing you good information. And we may match, we may not. Oh, yes, Elaine, I'll have you talk about this. This is
I'm just throwing it out there. I'm walking this Saturday on the world's largest pet walk with my dog who's recovered from his illness. I don't know if he's fully recovered, but he's recovered long enough or well enough to do a little pet walk. I do home health and hospice visits, or at least I did to the nursing homes before COVID, but now I'll do, if anybody knows anybody who's got somebody who's ill or who would appreciate a companion visit with a dog. This cute little dog is my dog Reverend, and he's such a sweet little comfort dog. I will go visit them if you know anybody who needs a little comforting. So we're trying to raise money for others to have the benefit of comfort animals through Pet Partners. So that's what I'm doing this weekend. If anybody wants to do a little donation or wants to participate, I could put that in the comments. And that's it. Boop, 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 boop. Just want to mention that. Yep.
Well, that is our show for this week, everybody. Elaine, tell everybody where they can find you for your matchmaking services.
Oh, they can find me on Facebook. I have to think about it because I'm trying to hide.
Dynamic Introductions. There we go.
Dynamic Introductions on Facebook or the World Wide Web.
That's right. And if you're looking to find me, gentlemen, if you're looking for a coach who has been called the N-word, that means nice. Yes, I've been called a nice guy as well back in my day. I am a recovering nice guy. And if you're tired of women telling you, you're so sweet, you're so nice, don't ever change, and they give you a handshake or a hug, whether in a kiss or anything else, then I'm the coach for you. Let's talk about how to get you more kisses and keep you away from the handshake zone.
There you go.
And you can find me here at Assign Yourself Dating or at grichard360.com. We thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.